We have a 1998 Honda XR80 that I picked up for $500. It is a non-runner, but everything is there. It's got a little bit of rust on it. It's been sitting for a while. The tires are dry rotted, and the tubes, or the front tube, doesn't hold any air. I believe the carb is probably all gummed up. There is some gas, some minor gas in the tank. We're gonna look at that. I'll check for spark and start going through it just to see what we're dealing with. The guy that I bought it from, he did say it had spark, so I'm kind of trusting him on that. You know, there's definitely some wear. The rear sprocket's got a little bit of wear to the teeth there. Obviously the chain's rusted, I'll have to replace that. There is a little bit of an oil leak that I noticed before I bought it in the skid plate there, so I'm hoping that the crank isn't, or the case isn't cracked, but we'll find out. You know, given what I have into it, you know, if I had to sell the parts, I could certainly get my money back, or I might be able to even swap out a different engine. So the rear tire is missing some knobs, and it has a little bit of dry rot, so it's definitely has some age to it. Definitely looks like it's been sitting a while with some of the rust. It is missing an air box cover on the other side. I noticed that was taped over. But the head looks good. Cylinder looks, you know, pretty good. It turns over. Decent clutch play. Brakes work fairly well. So we'll have to tear everything apart and see what we have. See what we have for oil. I'm not seeing much oil in there, and we've got no oil whatsoever. That's not good. Let's see if we've got spark. Let's confirm that. Definitely some carbon deposits on the spark plug. Very black. Okay, yes, we have spark. Well, that's good news. And the fact that it doesn't have any oil in the transmission is definitely concerning. So I want to take the seat off and then take the gas tank off, and we can drain the gas out of there. I'm certainly not going to trust it. Got some dirt here that we got to clean off. Everything looks decent so far. No real issues. I'll probably get into the carb, see how bad that is, and then I'll probably pop the valve cover here, the head, just to take a look to see what kind of wear there may be. That may give an indication of the usage. But for the most part, everything is fairly decent. I'll probably have to take that skid plate off and take a really good look at what's underneath. Probably add some oil in it and see if we have any leaks. So like it's missing the cover here. Probably have to open this all up. The filter is in there. That's good news. It looks not too dirty, and it looks like a fairly new filter, so yeah, a little better look at the air filter. Got some acorn evidence here, so, but the looks like the filter was intact. I'll get my flashlight. So looks pretty decent in there. Looks like it's sealed. A little dirty, but not bad. All right, so let's take a look at this gas, see the quality of it. I'll dump it out into this gas can that I have, and we'll see what it looks like. So I've got a funnel with a filter, and we'll filter the gasoline, see what it's like. All right, so the gas itself looked pretty good, but there's certainly a lot of nasty stuff down at the bottom of the tank, which is kind of typical, I guess. I'm going to pull the petcock out and see what that looks like. Definitely a little dirty here. There's usually a strainer on these. And we'll see what that looks like. The bolts look good. Corrosion. Not that bad. Old, discolored. There's some stuff on there, but not too bad. Okay, so I pulled out the petcock, and it looks like the screen and mesh here is pretty well disintegrated. So I'll see if I can get another screen, or if I can just take it out completely. Otherwise, I'll have to buy a new petcock unit. Alright, so I did check the motor oil again, engine oil, and I tipped the bike over just to see if it was just a little low in there. There is oil in there, so I added a bit more to bring it up to the proper level. I might have a little too much in there, but I can drain some of it out. So that was good news. So hopefully it's just a clogged up carburetor and maybe some bad gas that is the only issue with this. So I'm going to start stripping a few things off. I'll probably open up the head here and clean this up, and we'll see what we have for wear, and just kind of start going through it. There's some carbon buildup on the inside of that. I don't know if you can see that, but I can kind of move it around with my thumb there, so I'll clean that up. There may be some pretty good use on this after all. A lot of carbon buildup for sure. Let's see if we can see in there. So definitely, again, either burning very rich. I don't know. We'll continue to explore. Okay. Wow. That is hard as a rock. I think I've got, yeah, this is just a overflow. I've got extra carburetor tubing. Clean the hands. Uh-oh. I got a little bit of, let's see if we can see this. A little bit of, I don't know, nastiness right there. Some either corrosion or debris or some dried gas, something nasty that we gotta clean out. Must have been dried. Must have been dried gas. That looks better already. The port and the valve look pretty good in there. I don't know if we can get in there to see it. It looks pretty good in there, pretty clean. Valve, nothing wrong with the valve there. So More good news. So I have these different caps, different diameters. They're really good for plugging ports like that, keeping the dirt and debris out of them. Very useful. So let's clean this up and then we'll open up the head, see what we have. Actually, before we do that, let's pull the carburetor off. I don't want to get any additional debris in the carburetor, so that comes off easy. Oh, there we go. A little sticky. Ooh, that needle has got a ton of corrosion on it. So I guess let's open this up first before we take the head apart. See what we have here. There's definitely a lot of gunk built up here that I gotta clean off. There we go. Up, bingo. Oh, oh yeah. Oh, I don't even know what that is, but kind of like greenish flakes in there. Everything else looks decent up top. Gaskets okay. Ooh. And this thing is really corroded. Look at that. Just all rusted. But I can see through it. So that is, let's see, yeah, overflow, yeah. So, yep. Needle looks good. Oh, just dropped it. That is tiny, but I can definitely see through the holes very well. Maybe not the center hole. The center hole looks like it's blocked. Oh yeah, the center hole is definitely blocked. But we should be able to get that. Let's open that sucker up. Can I see through that? Nope, that one's completely blocked up. Yeah, definitely. And that's definitely the problem. Yeah, that's what is at the bottom of that bowl. And I'm guessing that that's all the crystallized gas that was in there from the previous owner, or maybe the original owner. And then when the guy that I bought it from, he added fresh gas to it to try to get it fired up, it probably ended up gelling or hydrating all the crystallized gas in here, and of course all the needles are, all the jets are plugged up. So, and I'm going to open up that head, see what that looks like. I always like to clean everything really well that's sitting above the engine when you're opening it up. I don't want any debris or dirt falling into the head when I have it exposed. Normally I would have probably stripped everything down and pressure washed it, really clean everything up. But seeing how the bike was pretty clean from the exterior, I didn't really bother. I figured I could easily wipe everything down. For some reason these head bolts here look not factory, not original. Looks clean. The head doesn't look all that clean. The inside, it's starting to flake off inside there a little bit. So it looks pretty good. It looks pretty clean so far. As good as you would expect. I don't see any metal shavings or any metal bits and pieces, that's excellent news. All right, let's pop this side cover off here so we can get to top dead center so we can check the valve clearance, and then we can at least button her back up. They're rusted pretty good, but they're all pretty easy to break off. And we don't have a gasket at all around this thing, which I don't know. I would think that this would come with a gasket around this panel. There's no gasket here, so that's part of the reason why this is probably really rusted up. I take the spark plug out so I can find top dead center. Doesn't seem to be any real play in there. Alright, I think that's top dead center right in there. I wonder, is there any concern with that noise? I'm not sure what's causing that noise. Piston. Yeah, it's definitely some play there on the piston. I don't know if it's supposed to do that or if it should be. That's cause for some concern. I don't know. I don't think that's good, but so the gap's supposed to be 0.002, which I've got my feeler gauge here. It's very, very thin. And let's put it in right here. I've got no tightness in there at all. It's very loose. And what about here? That is, and that's a little snug, but still loose, fairly loose. That one's definitely loose. So let's see if I can do this. I've never really adjusted valves before, valve clearance, so this is going to be new to me. So let's give it a go. In order to adjust the valve clearance, you need a 9mm, and you loosen up this nut right here, and then you rotate this square bolt pin. So use righty-tighty to tighten up. I got a piece of dog hair or something in there to tighten it up. And you really, once this is loose, you can just use your fingers to rotate this and to get it to touch the top of the valve. One trick is to actually, once you have the nut here loosened and you've adjusted your pin down, you can actually put your feeler gauge in there and actually with one hand holding the feeler gauge and the other screwing in the threaded rod here. You'll feel, you can move the feeler gauge back and forth and you'll feel it tighten, and that way you know you're kind of right where you need to be, and then just lock down your nut without adjusting, making any movement to this. Hold it in place and then tighten it, and you should be good. So both of them are set correctly. I've put both feeler gauges through there, and they're fairly snug, but they move relatively freely with some tension on them. Okay, so I put the cover back on, and the valve cover. And now I'm on to washing up or cleaning up the carburetor. Make sure everything's coming out of the ports. Clean the bowl up nice, and then onto the jets. Make sure those are all clean and I can see through them, and then we'll put it back together and give it a go. Okay, so I finished washing the bowl. It's much cleaner now. Check the overflow passage, that is free and clear. And same thing with the main body of the carburetor. Went through and cleaned all that up, and then sprayed some light lubricant through all of the ports, and everything is free and clear on that as well. So looking at the main jets now, and I just took off, the head to the main here, and a bunch of rusty debris came out. So now I'm on to the jets and making sure that these are free and clear before I put it back together. Hopefully, they're very, very small ports, so hopefully I can get these working again. Okay, a little update on the jets. I was able, using some needles and some cotter pins, actually not a cotter pin, what is it, clothespin. I was able to get the little passage free and clear on this guy here, so that was nice. And then this guy was a little stubborn. I was able to get the needle, through the side ports without any problem, but getting it through basically right here where the threads are, that's where it was jammed up. So I was able to look up to the light with it. I could see light through the center, and I'm blowing some lubricant through there, so it looks like they're all free now. So I'll put it back together. Hopefully it doesn't look like I have to buy a carb kit for it. So looking at the slide for the carburetor, there is quite a bit of corrosion or buildup on the needle here. So I got a piece of really fine grit sandpaper, and I'm just gonna just lightly go over it just to kind of break some of that film that's on it. I will avoid sanding the needle here, the point, but just mainly want to get this section remove that gunk on it. And now here we have our clean needle. It's on tight. Oh yeah, look at that. Wow, that is some stiff rubber. Okay, let's put the gas tank back on. Carburetor's on. I'll put the exhaust on, and then the tank. Gas tank on. I'm not going to mount it, I'm just going to place it. Okay, exhaust is on, tank's on. Just going to get some fresh gas for it and see if she'll fire up. There you go. Maybe I don't need the choke. Good news. Okay. I think I'm going to wheel this outside so I can adjust the carb and have it run. It fired off, so that's good news. I knew it was just a carburetor issue. Those jets are definitely completely clogged up, and then there was a lot of debris in the bowl. So So I'll take her outside, and I think I've got a flat front, so, and I don't think that holds air, so I won't even really be able to take it for a test ride until I get new tubes and tires. But as long as she runs, I'll be happy. So let's head outside. Okay, so I got out of the basement. It's in the garage. Putting it in here because it's very windy, so I want to be able to hear the engine, and kind of cold too, so I could use the shelter. So that sounds good. Ooh, definite clacking in there. I think I'm gonna have to take the head off. Does not sound good. That's what could have been that little slop that I was noticing. Very noisy. I think that has to do with the piston. I didn't notice anything up in the head at all. So I think it may be worth taking off the cylinder and taking a look at the piston and see what's doing there. Because like I said, when I was rocking it back and forth from top dead center, it seemed like there was some noise that shouldn't be there. I have to dig a little deeper. Yeah, it's running now.